Hey guys, let's get more news from Steelers, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Steelers announce 2024 opponents. The Pittsburgh Steelers' 2024 opponents are set, and while the exact schedule won't be released for some time, we now know who they will play at home and on the road next season. Next season, the Steelers will take on the entire AFC West and NFC East. They'll also take on external opponents from the AFC East and NFC South, based on their place in the division. After finishing third in the AFC North this season, the Steelers will host the Dallas Cowboys, Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, New York Giants, and New York Jets in 2024. Of course, they'll also face the Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, and Cincinnati Bengals at Acrisure Stadium. On the road, the Steelers will travel to play the Atlanta Falcons, Denver Broncos, Indianapolis Colts, Las Vegas Raiders, Philadelphia Eagles, and Washington Commanders. They'll also travel to all of their AFC North opponents. The NFL will release the full schedule, including weeks, dates, and times, in May. Opening the last week of the NFL regular season, the Pittsburgh Steelers went to their arch-rivals' home and beat the Baltimore Ravens this Saturday, October 17 at M&T Bank Stadium. The duel had value for Pittsburgh, which needed to win to increase its chances of making the playoffs, while for Baltimore it was no longer worth anything. That's because the Ravens have already secured the division title and a break in the first week of the postseason. Even so, without Lamar Jackson, Baltimore played a tough game and made things difficult for their rivals. The Steelers only went into halftime tied, and things only got better with a 71-yard touchdown from Deontay Johnson in the third quarter. With the victory, Pittsburgh ends its regular season at 10-7 and is now hoping for a defeat by the Jacksonville Jaguars or Buffalo Bills, or a tie between the Houston Texans and Indianapolis Colts to guarantee a spot in the playoffs. Even if they make the playoffs, the Steelers will have a concern next week. That's because T.J. Watt left the game with an apparently serious injury after colliding with a teammate. Steelers OT ranked one of worst this season. The Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line found some groove this season after replacing Chukwuma Okorafor with rookie Broderick Jones at right tackle. But the other side of the offensive line was supposedly the problem, with Pro Football Focus grading their left tackle as the worst pass blocker in the NFL. PFF graded Steelers left tackle Dan Moore Jr. with a 39.7 for the entire season, the fifth worst of any offensive tackle in 2023. He allowed 8 sacks and 55 pressures, according to PFF. The Steelers will have a decision to make along the offensive line this season. With Broderick Jones being a natural left tackle, it makes sense to move him to the left side as an NFL sophomore. But that decision would leave them with a hole to fill at right tackle. While Moore tried to play both sides during training camp, he was unsuccessful in being able to transition from the left to the right side. So, next season the Steelers may only have one option, being to add to their offensive line and replace Moore with Jones. As for right now, the Steelers aren't making a change. Moore and Jones will be their starting tackles throughout the playoffs. They'll handle any alterations to the group once free agency and the NFL draft cycle begins. The final week of the NFL regular season was frantic this Sunday and saw more teams qualify for the league playoffs. Playing away from home, the Jacksonville Jaguars disappointed their fans and lost 28-20 to the Tennessee Titans, 6-11, who were already eliminated and in the bottom of the AFC South. Jacksonville ends its campaign with 9-8 and it only depended on itself to win the division and go to the playoffs. However, this embarrassment in the last game helped the Pittsburgh Steelers and Buffalo Bills, who secured their places in the postseason. Furthermore, the Houston Texans, who beat the Indianapolis Colts this Saturday, are 10-7 and win the AFC South Division. In the National Conference, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers only depended on themselves to win the NFC South and advance to the playoffs. And the team did its part away from home against the Carolina Panthers, 2-15, by winning 9-0 this Sunday and finishing with a 9-8 campaign. Even though the New Orleans Saints beat the Atlanta Falcons and also finished 9-8, the Bucs came out on top in the tiebreaker criterion of using common games and therefore got the place in the playoffs and the division title. However, New Orleans could still make the playoffs if the Green Bay Packers and Seattle Seahawks lose their games later. Report: some around the league speculate Mike Tomlin could take time off from coaching. Mike Tomlin has always been a polarizing figure to Steelers fans. This season, though, the noise and calls for his job felt like they were coming in louder, and more often, than any season before. This prompted rumors that the Steelers may try to trade Tomlin, who still has 1 year left on his contract, in the offseason. That said, Tomlin may be looking to take a break from coaching altogether. Speaking on Sunday NFL Countdown, Adam Schefter speculated that the second longest tenured NFL coach could look to step away and take some time off. The Steelers are not firing Mike Tomlin. But here's the thing that's interesting. He's got a year left on his contract. And there's some people around the league who believe that Mike Tomlin could decide eventually to take some time off like Sean Payton did. Maybe take a year off. We'll see if that's something that's on his mind. Schefter also mentioned that if Tomlin wanted to continue coaching, but wanted to do it elsewhere, that Washington and Los Angeles could be potential options, noting that Tomlin is from Virginia and that Tomlin's wife loves the Los Angeles area. Michael Pettaway Tomlin, born March 15, 1972, is an American football coach who is the head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the National Football League, NFL. Since joining the Steelers in 2007, he has led the team to 11 playoff runs, 7 division titles, 3 AFC championship games, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and a title in Super Bowl 43. At age 36, Tomlin became the youngest head coach to win the Super Bowl, a record which was later broken by Sean McVay in Super Bowl 56. Tomlin holds the record for most consecutive non-losing seasons to begin a coaching career with 17 and has never had a losing season. Only Tom Landry, 21, and Bill Belichick, 19, have had longer such streaks at any point in their coaching careers. And you fan, what do you think of the Mike Tomlin situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.